first preem will be the women's preem, and the other two will be field or leaders preems, depending on how the officials do it here. All right. It's really hot, as you guys know. This is a training race, so if you feel like you need to come off and get water, come off and get water. Don't put yourself into an emergency situation. It is really hot. Also, the heat has buckled the pavement, not in any of the racing lines, it doesn't look like, but in a couple of places it's just bumped it up a little bit, so it might be a little different than last week, so just pay attention and keep your hands on the bars. Big appreciation out to Carytown Bikes this week. They're our sponsors. And as always, big hand to our officials. Carolyn and Tom are here today, and Dave's usually here, and he might be here a little later. But anyway,
he's not coming.
all right. Most of you guys have probably heard by now, but if not, we had some sad news this past weekend. Mark Batterson passed away. For you that don't know Mark, and even for you guys that do, I mean, Mark was one of those guys that is just like the history of Richmond bicycling. He's been around and had been around in racing since long before I even knew what a bike was. And for a lot of folks, he was the first guy that you would meet when getting into the cycling world. He worked for Rowlettes for years and years, and a lot of folks knew him from that. Mark was just an amazing guy. He was one of these guys that everything about cycling and just life in general excited him. The simplest things he was just excited like a kid about. So when you went in to get your bike worked on, he would look at it and just want to explain to you what was going on, and it was just as if he had found and discovered fire. It was just truly amazing. And it just everything. He had just such a childlike excitement and would want to explain things to you, and he would do it in such a way that you were just excited to hear about it. I mean, it was like, you know, Jimmy Fallon is. He was that about bikes, and he had, a lot of you may have known about his hobbies. He was into radio-controlled airplanes, model rockets, model trains. I mean, again, things that you think of as just making kids excited at Christmas. And he was like that all through his adult years. But more importantly, you know, he was just always involved in the bike scene and in the racing scene. And he always wanted to do things for others. Just this last Christmas, he was, you know, integral with Rabba in getting 500 plus bikes to kids for Christmas. And, you know, he personally put together probably half of them and made sure the other half worked. He was just always out doing for others. He was a guy that, you know, he wasn't a flashy dude or a mover or a shaker in the bike scene, so a lot of folks didn't hear about him. But he was just one of those awesome guys that we need more of. And he will be deeply and meaningfully missed. So tonight what we're going to do in honor of Mark is our first lap. We're going to make a neutral silent lap. Our series leader Mike's going to lead us out, and we're just